It's the Brad and John Show.
The Brad and John Show. Today's date is the 11th of December, 2025. Okay, John, you don't know about when I'm talking about the Phillip Rivers things, okay?
No, and Phillip Rivers was a quarterback for a long time for the San Diego Chargers. Is he still the starting quarterback?
John, you're going to have to erase was.
Is he currently?
No, here's the story. This is really an interesting story. Phillip Rivers is 44 years of age, okay? 44 years old. The Indianapolis Colts have had a serious problem with their quarterbacks. Their first stringer got injured, their second stringer got injured, their third stringer got injured. Phillip Rivers has been signed to the Indianapolis Colts as a backup quarterback. He's 44 years old.
Very nice. So there's a chance in the last few NFL games of the year that, there's a good chance Phillip Rivers could come in and take a few snaps for the Colts. Now, I'm guessing the Colts have a terrible record.
Yes, they're not doing too well. And the problem is that, well, not the problem. He's officially been put on the practice squad, and I'm not Mr. Sports Dude, but I do know enough about sports and NFL that once you're on the practice squad, you can activate players off the practice squad. It's sort of like the minor leagues in baseball. You can have a guy.
Yeah, you could bring them up. They're in town, so they practice during the week with the team.
Right, exactly.
And then, they're there in town. Yeah.
Right, exactly. They're there with the town, with the team. And a lot of times they use, in the quarterbacks, the practice squad quarterbacks in drills where they don't want to possibly have any injuries to their starting quarterbacks. They use them sort of, not as a tackling dummy, but in other words.
Yeah, but essentially a tackling dummy.
Right.
So Phillip Rivers, I guess, had he officially retired a few years ago?
Oh, he's been out for 5 years. And
5 years? Yes, holy cow.
He's been out for 5 years. And the bizarre.
Well, he's had to stay in great shape, I'm sure.
Right. And here, let me read you this quick. There's a little, I footnoted this article. Now, there's an interesting part of the story that not too many people know about, that there's an ulterior motive. Okay, it talks about roughly 24 hours later, the Colts signed Rivers to their practice squad, making him available to play if necessary as early as this Sunday at the Seattle Seahawks. Rivers, an 8-time Pro Bowl selection and recent grandfather who hasn't played since 2020, immediately becomes NFL's oldest player even as he tries to turn back the clock. How did it all come together? What options did the Colts weigh, and how did they arrive at their final decision? Interviews with the team sources who spoke on the condition of anonymity painted a clear picture of one of the season's most shocking transactions. Now, there's a subtext to this, that there is another reason why Phillip Rivers has been activated by the Colts.
Does it have to do with his retirement? It has to have something to do with money.
No.
Like, does he get some sort of a money angle on this?
It has nothing to do with money. It has to do with his wife.
Oh, wow. What is it?
His wife called up the owners of the Colts and said, please, there's a rumor that you may be activating my husband. Please activate him. And you know why she's pleading with the Colts to activate her husband?
She wants him out of the house.
And she specifically wants him out of one room out of the house. You know what that room is?
The bedroom.
And you know why?
No idea. He snores.
Phillip Rivers has 11 kids.
Wow, good for him.
He has 11 kids and one grandkid. And so his wife's like, enough! Get this guy away from me! I'm kidding.
Are they all with her?
Yes, he has 11 kids.
How does she look?
I don't know. I haven't seen her picture. Let me see.
Is she a tub of lard, or has she maintained herself? After 11 kids.
Hold on. I'll do a Google search here. Phillip Rivers' wife's picture, and we'll see. I bet you she's a knockout. Wife.
Yeah, he's not going to keep some,
Yeah, Phillip Rivers' wife. Okay, it's coming up. Images, okay. Oh, man, she's a nice-looking lady.
Okay, I'll be the judge of that. He spells it just with one P, right? Hasn't he always been kind of a Phillip Rivers' wife?
Yes, Philip.
Tiffany Rivers. Yeah, she's cute. She looks like, it's hard to tell because he's a tall guy, but she kind of looks like a spinner.
Well, he's probably, judging from this, there's a picture of her standing next to him. He's what, 6'4", 6'5", something like that?
Yeah. So you know what? She's probably like 5'7" or so.
Yeah, she's probably 5'6", 5'7".
You're right. There's a lot of stories about the number of kids.
Yeah, hold it.
That's fun. Now, but here's the thing, though. It's a funny story to get him because of the bedroom, but she's probably too old to have kids, right?
I don't think
She's
so.
43, so she's past the window.
Well, no. There are women that have, come on, John.
Yeah, but come on, Brad.
Don't be
like. I mean, no. Here's the thing. She could do IVF. I know some older ladies in their 40s who are successful with IVF. I'll just leave it there. But yeah, I mean, this is great. Good for Phil Rivers. I don't mean to gloss over the football thing, Brad. And we should go back to that. I see a headline here that she says that she's nervous about him going back.
Hold on. There's something coming through the roof. I'm hearing something. Mom, is that you? Mom, what's that? You say that John Combest's a male chauvinist pig?
Yeah, everybody knows if you're hearing your mom's voice, it's not coming from above, Brad.
Okay.
Brad, I was disturbed I don't mean to get off this topic, but I was disturbed. I looked at my Kirby Junior High yearbooks over the weekend, and I missed your mom, pardon the expression. So she must have retired before I got to Kirby.
What year would you be in Kirby?
I entered Kirby in 1990.
I'm trying to think. I think she was probably gone by then.
She had to be, because there was some other lady listed as a librarian there.
My mom was there in the 70s, mid 70s. I think she started there after I graduated, long after I graduated out of high school. So she was probably there in the 70s and 80s, and I believe probably by 1990 she was gone from there. But she was, and matter of fact, she was the assistant librarian, the librarian who was in charge there for a long time. I think her name was Phyllis Kohut, if I'm not mistaken. And what's interesting, I will never forget this because of the fact that one day my mom said, "You need to come up to Kirby and take a look at my coworker's husband's new car." And this was when I was, up there in years. And I go, "What is it?" And she says, "Just come up here." And he was driving, I never forget this, and I fell in love with his car. A 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle SS 454 cowl induction car, which was red with black racing stripes. That if that car, and I'm telling you, that car probably back then in 1970 was probably about a $4,000 or $5,000 car. If that car was in showroom condition, let's say it had been restored back to showroom condition, that would be a six-figure car nowadays. Maybe like a low to mid six-figure car. That car would probably draw, if it went through Mecum auto auctions, would probably draw $150,000 to $200,000. And I remember, I thought, oh my God, that is such a cool car. I want one of those, and I always want one of those. But yeah, that's what when she was up there at Kirby. I don't know what Kirby is anymore. Have I told you this weird story? Do you know what is right next to Kirby? Do you know the story about the building they built right next to Kirby?
No, what is it?
You don't know about this?
No, I just asked you, what is it?
Remember on Page, if you remember way back when, and this has actually impacted my father as well too. On Page, there's still a government office there, but it used to be the Military Records Center on Page. And you're right. It's right next to the old Kirby Junior High. And in fact, there was an issue a few years ago because a federal worker got in trouble because they had been in charge of, they were supposed to file a bunch of documents, and they ended up throwing the documents away in the woods and being like, "Oh no, I filed them." Yeah.
And they're like, "You scanned them all in?" "Yeah, I scanned them all in." And this guy would just dump all the documents in the woods and say, "Yep, I scanned them all in. It's time to go home."
And matter of fact, the interesting thing about it is when I went to Kirby, we had, and it was actually sort of cool. There was a big woods behind the Kirby. We had one of the best cross country tracks, and one of my gym teachers used to make a run. Man, I hated running that cross country track because it went back behind the school into the woods. They had a bunch of people go through and cut a bunch of trees out, and there was a trail that went back through the woods, and it was undulating territory. You went up and you went down, and you looped back around. And you know what destroyed the cross country track at Kirby Junior High, John? Do you have any idea?
What was it?
Hazelwood East High School. Hazelwood East High School. They built it, and and that was the back end of the Kirby Junior High cross country track. So your high school cut up that wonderful cross country track.
Yeah, it's a shame when we have progress in any part of town, isn't it, Brad?
Okay, so go back to the Philip Rivers things. See, what's interesting about this, John, you make fun of my age all the time. And the crazy thing about this is that I say, to a large degree, age is just a number.
Yeah, is Philip Rivers the same age as you?
No, but he's...
Okay, he's not.
But,
Right.
John, how many guys do you know that A, married to a hot wife, B, have 11 kids, and at C, at the age of 44, could end up playing back in an NFL game live and direct on television this Sunday?
He is an outlier, Brad. And there's very few 40-year-old men who could tie their shoes without making a grunting sound.
That's why I wear boots, because I have to tie my shoes.
Yeah, there you go, Brad.
I just slip on
You're
my
right.
cowboy
A guy
boots.
like Phillip Rivers is definitely the exception to the rule. Well, this is a feel-good story. And imagine, too, if you're a coach, you're the offensive coordinator or you're the head coach for Indianapolis. Imagine the pressure you're under now in a late-season game if you're playing at home to put Phil Rivers in, to activate him and put him in the game.
See, I'm the guy that wherever Aaron Rodgers is playing, I say, yes, go Aaron, because once again, he's an old guy. He's defying the odds. And the amazing part of this is that you do have these outliers. You do have these guys, in baseball. You had the crazy story was our very own number 5 for the Cardinals. And by the way, there's an interesting story about Mosaic. Did you? I heard part of this last night. It was interesting. Remind me of that. I'll go back to that.
Okay, let's get back to you're talking about how Pujols was of advanced age,
right,
and could still serve as a DH and provide value to a team.
The supposedly that since he was born in the Dominican Republic, that he was actually, depending upon who you talk to, he was 2 to 5 years older than he actually was because
he was listed as. Yeah, sure. He's not whatever age he claims that he is. He's older than that
because of the fact that they didn't have birth certificates and stuff like that. Okay, Scott Jennings. You know who Scott Jennings is, right?
Yeah.
Scott Jennings.
CNN Scott Jennings.
Yes, but he also now does a national radio show. Do you know this?
Yes.
Okay, they run it on 97.1. They run it between 8 and 9 o'clock at night. Scott Jennings is an interesting guy. I love Scott Jennings because of the fact, once again, he came out of the newsroom at I think it's KHAS, which one is the big Louisville stations. He was like the all-night news guy. Started out at a college and worked like midnight to 6 as the news guy on WHAS in Louisville, one of the big talk stations, okay? And then he got on CNN, and if you watch him on CNN, he's the only conservative. You know what the name of that show is? It's like a panel show. They have a bunch of panelists, and
I don't know what the name of it is, no.
And he's the guy who's always destroying the wackadoodle leftists on there, okay? He did an hour-long interview with Mosaic, which ran yesterday.
Wow, that's surprising. Why was he talking to Mo?
Well, first off, if you listen to him he's a regular guest on Reardon's show on 97.1. He's a huge Cardinals fan. And he did this interview with Mosaic, and the reason I knew about it was because Reardon was talking about it, and I remember, okay, and I forgot about it, but I listened to like the last 20 minutes of it, and it was interesting because he did a quick sort of like a lightning round near the end of the show, and he asked them about all these rules that have changed. What do you think about this rule? This new rule? You agree with it? Yes. And what's interesting was then he goes back and he asks him to embellish upon his answers, and his answers was fascinating. And he said that he had to look in his crystal ball that this year, next coming year, we've got the thing where they can challenge so many pitches. They can, tap the batter, or the pitcher can essentially call to have the pitch reviewed if it was a ball or strike, whatever it was. Okay. He said that he thinks within the next, I think he said 5 years. Don't quote me on that, but I think he actually gave a number. I think it was 5 years, that Major League Baseball, the umpire behind the plate, will no longer call balls and strikes. His position will be just to be call plays at home, just like the base umpires. They're going to call the base, the first guy, if you get a grounder.
Yeah, out, off the bag.
Right.
Interference, whatever.
Right, that kind of thing. And that the umpires will no longer call balls and strikes behind the plate.
Now, Brad, if I had to stereotype, I would guess that you don't like that.
Here's the thing. Me being a former baseball umpire, okay, the day that a team has a perfect outing where every pitch that the pitcher throws is a strike, and every ball that's hit is fielded cleanly by a fielder, and no ball is ever dropped on a fly ball, and everything is done precisely, perfectly, to the letter of baseball, that will be the day umpires call a perfect game because it's all human. And I think if you take the human element out of it, and you've seen that through the years with the instant replays and stuff like that, and the naysayers will always come back and say, well, look at Don Denkinger. If we would have had instant replay back in, what was that, the 85, the 87 World Series?
Correct. Game 6 of the 85 series.
We would have won that, and the Kansas City Royals wouldn't have won that
and
World
there's
Series.
Examples in every game. Go ahead.
Right. So if you can't take the human element out, because unless you have Robutts playing, and I always say that wrong, it's Robutts.
Robutts. Yes, they have big metal butts. They're Robutts.
Robutts. They're robots. Excuse me.
And you know what? You can find them at the Callaway nuke-u-lar facility too, I bet.
What else do we say wrong, John?
Brad, I added a little bit of milk to my coffee this morning.
Right. You and I both say milk. And
now you think that you say quarter incorrectly.
Well, a lot of people in St. Louis call it quarter. They miss that first R. There's 2 R's in it. There's quarter.
Yeah, I say quarter. So I don't say quarter. I say quarter.
Quarter. Okay.
I don't know, but I do think Robutts we should actually have actual Robutts on the field so that you could get extra points if you had a line drive and you hit a robot. Like if you're playing Little League Baseball and Brad Hildebrand, somebody's dad, just catches a foul tip, all you can do is say, ha, the old man's not wearing a cup. But if you hit a robot with a ball, you should be able to take an extra base.
Is that the way it works? Okay, John. Has this been a banger of a show or what?
It was fantastic. I mean, they're 2 great C blocks. Yesterday, we got to talk to Jason Law. And today we get to talk about Robutts.
No, we talked about Philip Rivers. And see, he's making up for all the childless marriages that you have right now, and all the women. Matter of fact, I heard an interesting story yesterday that women nowadays are not concerned about starting a family. They're talking about their most important thing in their life is finding a project they can complain about. They protest. No, seriously, that's what they're saying. That women no longer want to be.
If you're a woman looking for a project to complain about, let me introduce you to Brad Hildebrand. He's the definition of a work in progress, and there are plenty of things to criticize. If you're looking for material, listen to the Brad and John show starting in November of 2023, and you'll have plenty of material.
Man,
Brad, good luck on your gallbladder prep. When do you have to start going off meds?
You know what? I don't know yet still. Here's what's interesting. I have to go in for a pre-op evaluation, and I have to get an EKG and stuff like that. And I think I've been tentatively scheduled for tomorrow, but that doesn't mean they're going to surgery me tomorrow. Is that a verb? Is it surgery me?
Yeah. They're not gonna cut you tomorrow.
They're not going to cut me open. But the thing is still, so I don't know, John. I really don't know. I'll go in for my pre-surgery thing tomorrow, an EKG and all that kind of stuff. But hopefully it'll be sometime next week. So we'll just have to wait and see. So maybe it'd be
all right, Brad.
So I hate to, say I don't know what the show's going to go in the next couple of weeks, but by next week I should know exactly where I'm. And see, John, then you can't make fun of me anymore because you think I'm never going to have my surgery. You said that already.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm still skeptical. It's not scheduled yet. There's still plenty of time for you to be like, the scar tissue and laparoscopic, and I don't know.
Is there a prop bet?
There's still plenty of time.
Is there a prop bet since we have legal betting in the state of Missouri?
Yeah, you can go to DraftKings right now and find it, Brad.
Will Brad have his surgery before the end of the year? Okay. John, I've enjoyed the show today. And by the way, listen closely because we have a new legal ID. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready, Brad.
Okay. And we'll talk about it tomorrow. Here we go. Listen to this. It's only 30 seconds. Then you can chop off. Okay?
All right.
Pro Body Works, they'll make it shine. Your car, your truck, looking real fine. From a door ding to a wreck, they'll see it through. Pro Body Works makes it look brand new.
Pro Body Works in Union, 636-583-DENT. That's 636-583-DENT. And on the web at probodyworks.com.
KSL FM Washington.